welcome back to my channel. My name is Paige and this is my open book. In today's video, we are going to be doing top 5, bottom 5 for one of my favorite romance authors, Meghan Quinn. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's chat about the lovely Meghan Quinn together. So I thought Meghan Quinn would be the perfect author to kick off this series of top 5, bottom 5 because one, I've been reading her books for so long. I have a good variety, mainly because reason number 2, she has a huge backlist of books. Like I haven't even read everything that she has published because she's been writing for a really long time. And her writing style has definitely changed over time. So I kind of touched on this in my August wrap up because lately her new releases have not been my favorite. You'll notice a trend when I get to the section where I'm talking about the bottom 5 books from Meghan Quinn that I've read. They're all the ones that she's posted within like the past year or two, mainly. The Way I Hate Him was the exception, so I'm throwing that in as a little bit of a bonus because while this isn't like the top 5 Meghan Quinn books in my opinion, this is like her strongest new release that she's had. So I highly recommend you check this one out. So this is like a bonus. I'm not counting it as my top 5 though. I just want to like throw it out there. Okay, it's there. I planted the seed. If you want me to talk more about that book, you can go back to my August wrap up. But that kind of inspired me to do this video because Meghan Quinn is definitely one of those authors where she has books that I love that are like god tier or like favorite books of all time, and then she has books that I absolutely hated. I think part of the reason for that is because lately Meghan Quinn is hilarious. Like the humor that she puts into her books is great, but sometimes that could be a bit much for me if it's like too much like a cheesy rom-com in a way that's not entertaining to where it's just kind of like lame in my opinion. So I think that's why her work can be kind of polarizing for me personally. Obviously, you guys are entitled to your own opinions. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I still think you should read Meghan Quinn because she's just amazing. She does such sweet romances. She has really spicy good times. And she, like I said, she's hysterical. The jokes and the one-liners in her books will always hit. So we're going to start on a good note and we're going to start with the top 5 Meghan Quinn books in my opinion. Okay, first up we're going to go with Kiss and Don't Tell. This is part of her newer like hockey romance series for the Vancouver Agitators. So this is the first book in the series and I loved it. Like this is easily one of my top 5 Meghan Quinn books. Like that was probably the easiest book to include on this list because I was like that has to be on there. I reread this book all the time just because it has like some of my favorite scenes in it. So basically the premise of this one is you have this hockey team, the Vancouver Agitators, and in their off season they always go to this crazy decked out cabin mansion basically in Banff in Canada. I hope I'm saying that correctly, sorry, but they kind of go there just to like unwind, do nothing. They have like a personal chef and everything, you know, because they're rich hockey players and they can do whatever they want. So that's what they do in their off season. Well, one particular off season while they're up there, this girl just randomly shows up at their door because she was trying to travel to Canada and didn't really like plan ahead, so she didn't have a place to stay. She was trying to drive her like old car and she gets stuck in a storm. So she has to go to their door to ask for help. The group of hockey players that she meets, they're just hysterical. Like they all have such distinct personalities. Like some of the guys don't even want to let her in because they don't know if they should trust her. Some of the guys are obviously like trying to flirt with her like immediately. So it's just interesting to see the dynamic. But you could tell like Pacey and Winnie have some kind of like instant connection. But at the same time, they're not really like talking to each other or like all over for each other. It's kind of like a slow burn, right? Pacey recognizes her and at first he doesn't know why, but then he realizes that she used to date his brother. So you got that thrown in there, kind of like a little bit of forbiddenness. And I think he also wants to be clear that he's not like taking advantage of her because of the situation. So I think he's like trying to kind of like stand off from it. Now he's not close with his brother like at all, so that's why she doesn't recognize him because she's never even met him. So it's interesting. The spicy times are really good. Like I said, this is kind of more of a slower burn from Meghan Quinn though, and I think that's why this was kind of a pleasant surprise, just because I feel like it was different. The rest of the series, Not my favorite so far. We'll get into that, but this one was definitely a winner for sure. Another one, this is a pleasant surprise from one of her newer series that I originally wasn't a fan of, but then this like made me a believer. So this one is called A Long Time Coming, and this is from, I think it's like the Kane Brothers series. So this is a friends to lovers, not childhood friends to lovers. I think they become friends in college, and it's because they're on the same like Scrabble team. They're like a part of like a Scrabble enthusiast club or something, so they're kind of like nerds together. It's really cute. So the story actually starts off with the flashback to when they first meet, and you know, it kind of shows like how their friendship develops from there, and then cuts to present time, and the female main character is engaged to a guy. Like, he's not a terrible guy, but he's also not like the best. One of those guys that like he technically isn't bad, so like your friends aren't going to say anything, but in the back of their head they're kind of hoping that you break up, you know, like kind of like one of those. His family is like totally trying to take over the whole wedding planning process and just kind of like not letting her say what she wants, and she's just starting to feel like she's being forced into it in a way because she's not really given a voice. So her best friend starts to help her. Obviously, in the back of his head, he realizes how strong his feelings are for her, and unfortunately he didn't realize it before she got engaged, because of course, right? But now that she's engaged and, you know, he sees what she's going through, like he really like realizes what his feelings are, and now he's like, oh shit, now it's too late, like what am I supposed to do? So, but he's still being such a great friend, and he's trying to like help her through the wedding planning process, and he's there for her. Like when his family's working against, he's in her corner, you know, really trying to root for the things that she wants. And the feelings kind of develop from there, and it's just so sweet. This was like one of the best romances that Meghan Quinn has ever written. I stand by that. This will always be part of my top 5. Next up, we're going back in time to some of her older releases. This is 3 Blind Dates. Now this is like her dating by numbers series or something like that, and this is the first book. And what is cool is this is kind of set up like a Bachelorette or like an old rom-com movie from like the early 2000s. So the female main character is going on a bunch of blind dates, and she's, you know, trying to find love just like everybody else. So she is going on dates with these guys, and there's like 3 distinct guys that she's going on dates with, and it's almost like at first you don't really know who she's gonna end up with. So like you kind of have your own favorite that you're like kind of rooting for, but you also don't want to say it out loud because you're worried you'll jinx it, okay? So it really is like watching one of those dating reality TV shows. It's really cool, but it gives you like the rom-com movie vibe too. I don't know, it just has like that classic setup that I think Meghan Quinn did really well. If for some reason you're disappointed about who she ends up with in the first book, don't look ahead to the other books in the series, but the other books in the series are about the guys that she doesn't pick. So they all get a happily ever after, if that makes you feel better, but don't look ahead because then you'll get spoilers. But yeah, this one is really fun, and the spice is really good because there are sexy scenes with 3 different guys, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I highly recommend. I feel like no one ever talks about this one either. So this is definitely a hidden gem in Meghan Quinn's backlist that you definitely have to check out. This is still one of my favorites, and I think about this book all the time because I haven't read anything else like it. I'm sure this one will not come as a surprise if you have been on my channel for a little bit. I had to bring up the Getting Lucky series by Meghan Quinn. I was trying to decide which book of this series is my favorite, and I just don't know. To give you the basic premise, group of brothers, they go on a trip together for one of their birthdays. I think it's like the youngest brother, his 21st birthday or something. And there's a fortune teller that puts a curse on them. So they think they have this like love curse that's working against them and preventing them from finding their true love or their happily ever after. So each brother gets his own book, and it takes place in their small town of Port Snow, Maine, and it totally gives like Hallmark vibes. The second book, That Forever Girl. So this is a second chance romance, which you guys know I love. Just like the title says, like she is his forever girl, and it's someone who like she left the town for a while, for years, and like now she's back, and it just like throws everything off, and they have to see if they can like get over the problems they had in their past to see if they can reconnect. And just like the bond that they have is so cute. And there's this like old house that they used to like meet up in when they were in high school in the town, and then now I think they're like redoing it, or they're like gonna buy it or something, so they keep like going to that house, and then they get like the flashbacks when they were in high school, like first falling in love. It's just so sweet. It's so sweet. So it's really hard for me to pick a favorite, but I think I'm gonna go with that one. I really like the series and I highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out yet. And no, I won't stop talking about it ever. And the last one, again, I'm sure this won't be a surprise. I talked about this in my bingeable romance series video from Kindle Unlimited. And again, this is a whole series, so it's hard for me to just pick one. But it really is true though, like this series as a whole is just so good. Like there isn't one book in here that I hate. Like I honestly truly loved every single book in this series. So it's hard. My answer used to always be The Change Up. I don't know, I think I need to reread the series again to see like what my favorite would be now. Because lately I've been really wanting to reread, which one is it? The Dugout, because that one is the one where the female main character, she's like obsessed with baseball. And she ends up like coaching like an injured player like back into the game or something like that, and then they end up falling in love. And then we have The Trade, which that one actually follows the brother of the female main character in the first book, and he gets traded like from his dream team to like the rival team, and he's miserable, like everyone hates him, he's just really going through it. And then he meets the female main character, I think she's like the PR rep for the baseball team or something like that. I don't know, they're both so good. Can I say that they're tied? Don't make me pick. And what's cool is like the first one I talked about, The Dugout, that one takes place in college, whereas the other one takes place like in the MLB, like the major leagues, you know, when they're older. So they're both really good, but I also still really like The Change Up because that one is friends to lovers. I don't know, you guys. If you have read this series, let me know which one your favorite is down below. Just look up the tropes for each book. There's quite the variety in this series. You will definitely find a favorite in here, I promise. You gotta check it out if you haven't yet. The reason why I won't shut up about it is because I actually want you to read it. Yeah, you. Read it now. So yeah, those are my top 5. Now we're gonna get into the bad news. The bottom 5. So earlier I talked about Kiss and Don't Tell, that hockey romance series. The second book in that series, Those Three Little Words, this was such a letdown for me. And I don't think it was Meghan Quinn's fault. Well, one, this is a accidental pregnancy or surprise pregnancy, and that's like my least favorite trope, so that doesn't, that also doesn't help. I just didn't really like the dynamic between the two characters for some reason in this one. If you like the secret pregnancy, or not secret, no. If you like the surprise pregnancy or the accidental pregnancy trope, you may like this one because it's still a hockey romance. You know, you still get the same characters as the first book, so like you might enjoy it. It just wasn't for me. And then similar to that, A Long Time Coming was in my top 5. The second book in that series, So Not Meant to Be, this is in my bottom 5. I couldn't even tell you what happened in this book. I feel so terrible saying that. It was just really forgettable. I feel like the characters didn't stand out. I remember the one male main character, he just like has an obsession with like this pigeon or something, and like that was kind of weird. I don't know. It was very bizarre. Yeah, I think this is, I don't even think this, I think they're like co-workers, and then it's like a forced proximity situation, and then they end up like falling for each other. I think it's supposed to be like a play off of When Harry Met Sally or something like that. I don't know. This one totally went over my head. I didn't get it. I don't even remember what happens in this book, so I feel like that says a lot. Okay, the next one is The Highland Fling. She wrote this one, I think, after she took a trip to Scotland, so she wanted to have like a Scottish romance. And this is not a historical, this is still a contemporary. It just takes place in Scotland. The female main character like is gonna like run a coffee shop there or something so that the family that owns it can go on a vacation. I don't know, she like found this listing online and she's like looking for something to like change her life. So she goes there and then she ends up having to stay with their son, and he's like this grumpy, broody Scottish guy. It just felt a little bit ridiculous for me. There's like a scene with like a goat, I think, or something. I don't know. It's just like about like the antics they get into, which was funny, but I don't know, the romance just didn't feel like deep enough for me to like really connect with the characters. The guy sounded like he was hot, and like obviously we love a guy with an accent, so like I guess like he had that going for him. It's really all I remember, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I don't really remember much that happens. Like it was cute, but it definitely is not on the same level as her other books, in my opinion. So I don't know, maybe if you really like Scottish culture, you'll probably get a kick out of this, because she really went hard on the Scottish culture because she had just seen it all firsthand and she really wanted to like bring that into her books, which makes sense, but it wasn't for me. Next up we have The Reunion, and this one I was excited about because this one was on Kindle Unlimited and also had like the free audio that goes with it. The audio was very cringy, so I do not recommend listening to the audio. Just gonna put that out there. Again, some of the jokes in here, like, it just felt like she was like, I don't want to say trying too hard, because there's some people that like when romance books have jokes like that. For me personally, it was just too much on like the jokester kind of vibe. It's like his parents are trying to set him up with somebody or something, and then he ends up reuniting with like a friend of his ex-wife, I think. I don't even remember what happens. Again, that's how you know. If I'm the kind of person in high school, like, I would study for a test, and as soon as the test happened, it would leave my brain because I don't need it anymore. So once I decide I don't like a book, it leaves my brain. I don't keep the details in my brain. I know it's gonna sound like a broken record, but it's just my personal taste. Again, you don't have to agree. If you like the jokester, like rom-com vibes, you'll probably like this one, because honestly the parents were really funny and I liked them way more than I liked the main characters. So again, just didn't connect to them. I didn't really like want or like believe in their love story enough for me to like feel a connection. So wasn't for me. And last one, I don't know if this technically should count because I actually DNF'd this one. Only Meghan Quinn book I've ever DNF'd. This was really bad. I don't know what it is. This one, it felt like it was trying to be like a historical romance where you have like the Duke that comes over and tries to teach her how to be a princess or something. The setup of how he gets her is really weird, because she's like working for this like truck in Miami, tries to get people in off the beach for like these contests, like wet t-shirt contests or something. And like that's how he finds her, because he's been like hunting her down because he realized that she's like the heir to the throne of this weird country. It was just weird. It was just weird. I didn't get it. I was like, what is even happening right now? And then she agrees to go with him to like this life she doesn't even know in this random country. Like, I felt like it was trying to be like Princess Diaries, and they all had really weird names, and the name of the country I couldn't even pronounce. So again, I felt like it was like a historical romance. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. And this couple got 2 books. I'm like, why do they need 2 books? I don't know. This one was a doozy. I had to DNF it, and I felt so bad. I like really didn't want to, but I was talking about it with so many people, and they were like, why are you trying to read it? Like, it's clearly not working for you. Like, just give up. I'm like, but it's Meghan Quinn. But this is just proof, like, even if you love an author and you really click with their writing style, there's still gonna be stuff that they write that might not work with you, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. You don't have to like everything. There's gonna be stuff eventually that you don't like, because we can't give everything a 5-star, right? That would be boring if everything got a 5-star. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. I feel bad leaving on a bad note. If anything, check out her Getting Lucky series and the Brentwood Baseball series. I already know you're gonna find something in those that you absolutely love, because Meghan Quinn is just great at what she does, okay? Even if all the rom-coms don't work for me personally, they could still work for you. So if you like having a lot of jokes and funny one-liners in your romance books, she's still the queen of sassy and quippy romances. I'm still a Meghan Quinn stan. I will still check out any book that she publishes. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Give this video a like, comment down below. What is your favorite Meghan Quinn book or least favorite? If you've read anything by her, let me know. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss my future videos. Let me know down below too, are there any other authors you want me to do this trend with of the top 5, bottom 5? Or I could do like a top 5, bottom 5 of a specific trope. So like Friends to Lovers or Second Chance. Or I could do like a certain like subgenre like sports romance or rockstar romance, anything. Any recommendations you guys have for future videos, let me know in the comments and I will be sure to film those for you. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And I'll see you next time with another video. Bye.